Remember that buzz? That almost mythical feeling around a game, the one we thought might never actually arrive.
Oh, yeah.
Well, flicker of hope. It seems to be back. Because today we're going to dive into some pretty interesting whispers about Half-Life potentially returning.
It's the big question, isn't it? The one that's been echoing around for, gosh, how many years now? What happens after episode 2?
Exactly.
And now, yeah, there's this fresh set of rumors stirring things up again.
Totally. We're looking closely at a report from WGC Trek Tech,
Mm.
and the key info seems to be coming from Tyler McVicker.
Ah, McVicker.
Yeah, and for those of you who follow this stuff, you'll know Tyler has a pretty solid track record with valve leaks in the past.
He does. He's got credibility there.
So when his name comes up connected to a new project,
Hmm.
well, you pay attention, right?
You definitely do.
So our mission today, let's try and unpack these rumors, figure out what might hold water, and just understand what this could all mean for us Half-Life fans.
Yeah, McVicker's history definitely means we should take these rumors seriously. His past accuracy, especially with the Valve stuff, gives these comments about this HLX codename. It gives them some weight.
Okay, so the core of it seems to be this. HLX is apparently being playtested a lot.
Mm.
The report uses words like religiously and widely. So not just a tiny internal group.
Right.
It sounds like it's at a stage where, multiple people are actually willing to talk about it somewhat openly.
Mm-hmm.
That feels significant, doesn't it? Like way past early concepts.
Absolutely. Widespread playtesting like that, it usually means the main mechanics, a good chunk of the content, it's pretty much in place.
Okay.
Developers don't usually bring in lots of external eyes until they've got something relatively stable, where the basic gameplay loop is working. It suggests, a certain confidence in where the project is at.
And then there's this detail. This is the really intriguing part for me. The rumor is that HLX is playable,
Right.
start to finish.
Oh.
That's a massive piece of information, surely.
Hmm.
It implies the whole structure, the skeleton of the game, is there.
Oh, definitely.
And the focus has probably shifted, right, more towards refining, polishing, optimizing,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. What does being playable end-to-end typically signal?
It's a huge milestone in development. It means the story structure, the core gameplay, the overall flow that's largely locked in.
Right.
At that point, the team would be deep into optimization, hunting down bugs, fixing them, and just generally getting it ready, getting that polish for release.
Okay, so building on that apparent completeness. McVicker's suggesting a potential timeline. He's floating maybe a reveal this summer, followed by a release maybe in the winter. Now, that sounds optimistic, but maybe not impossible if the playtesting is that extensive.
It's possible. I mean, while the playtesting sounds positive, you always have factors that can shift things, right?
Sure.
Unexpected technical problems, maybe feedback from those playtests leads to bigger changes than planned, or even just, Valve's strategic marketing choices. Any of that could push dates around. But if the game is nearly complete and it is well tested, like the rumors suggest, then a summer announcement for a winter release, it starts to feel a bit more tangible. Plausible, at least.
Now, something else that's bound to get people talking. The report indicates HLX is not expected to be a VR title.
Ah, interesting. Unlike Alyx.
Exactly. Unlike the amazing Half-Life, Alyx. This seems to signal a return to a more traditional PC experience for whatever this next game is. What do you make of that decision, if it's true, of course?
Well, that's a really key difference, isn't it? It immediately opens it up to a much broader audience.
Yeah, the non-VR crowd.
Right. Alyx was incredible, a real landmark for VR, showing what it could do. But let's be honest, a lot of the longtime fans, they just want the story to continue in the format they know, on their PCs or consoles.
Makes sense.
So this could make it way more accessible for people who haven't invested in VR hardware.
But hang on, the tech side of these rumors.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty fascinating, too. We're not talking like huge procedurally generated maps or roguelike stuff.
Okay.
Instead, the buzz is about an evolution of the Left 4 Dead director system. Okay, let's unpack that because maybe not everyone remembers exactly what that did, what was the director, and how could evolving it change a Half-Life game.
Right. Okay. The Left 4 Dead director, for anyone who doesn't remember, it was this really clever AI system in the background.
Yeah, control the chaos.
Exactly. It dynamically managed things like where enemies would spawn, where you'd find health packs or weapons, even little environmental things, all based on how the players were doing, moment to moment.
Kept things fresh.
Totally. It made every playthrough feel different, unpredictable. So the rumor now is that HLX takes that idea but pushes it further. applying it not just to enemies, but maybe to doors, physics objects, props, even how NPCs behave.
Whoa, okay, that sounds potentially wild.
It really does. Imagine the possibilities. You could have like dynamic encounters or even puzzles that change based on how these systems interact. A puzzle involving physics objects might be completely different on your next playthrough, or an NPC might react differently. It hints at some really deep replayability within that Half-Life world.
It's been, what, over 5 years now since Alyx? A full Half-Life game.
Time flies.
It does.
Ooh.
And you see the community passion is still there, right? With amazing stuff like that, Half-Life 2 RTX demo, keeping the dream alive.
Absolutely. Incredible fan work out there.
So this rumor, HLX, whether it ends up being the Half-Life 3 or something else entirely,
Right.
it just shows how much this series still resonates, doesn't it? Why do you think Half-Life still had such a grip on people after all this time?
Well, it's a few things, I think. You've got the groundbreaking storytelling, the way it pushed gameplay mechanics forward back in the day.
Yeah, the physics.
The physics, the atmosphere, the world building, those characters, the mysteries. It all just clicked. And honestly, the long wait. It's only made people want it more. It's allowed the community to keep it alive themselves with mods, discussions, everything.
And that brings up a good point.
Right.
The report does mention, doesn't it, that HLX might not actually be Half-Life 3.
Right. That possibility is there.
It could be another game set in that universe. Maybe a side story, different characters.
Could be anything, really. A prequel, an interquel.
Honestly, though, after waiting this long, wouldn't most fans just be thrilled to get any new high-quality Half-Life experience? Regardless of the number?
Oh, I think absolutely. Given how invested people are in that world, even a spin-off or a parallel story, if it's done well and connects to the lore, yeah, that would likely be huge news and met with a lot of excitement. Quality in that connection, that's probably key for most fans.
And finally, the report doubles down on the idea that the team is currently in the optimization phase.
Right, we touched on that.
Yeah, which, as you said, is a really critical stage. It suggests the main content, the gameplay systems, they're largely set in stone. And the focus now is just making it run well, look good, prepping for release. What kind of work usually goes into that phase?
Optimization is all about refining performance, making sure it runs smoothly on different PCs, different hardware setups.
Taking the frame rate solid.
Exactly. Streamlining code, making sure assets load efficiently, squashing those last tricky bugs and glitches. It's the final polish, really, ensuring it's a smooth, enjoyable experience right out of the gate. And the fact that each LX is reportedly in that phase, it definitely lends more weight to that potential near-term release window we talked about.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together. What we've got from this deep dive is, well, a set of really tantalizing rumors.
Very tantalizing.
Stemming from a source, McVicker, who has a decent track record, pointing to this project HLX, potentially the next Half-Life. It's supposedly being heavily play-tested, maybe even playable end-to-end. There's talk of a possible summer reveal, winter launch. It's not VR, apparently.
Yeah.
And it might have this really interesting procedural system, like an evolved Left 4 Dead director.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial to remember this is all still rumor and speculation at this point, unconfirmed reports.
Absolutely, grain of salt required.
But the level of detail in some of these claims, plus the source, it does paint a compelling picture, doesn't it? A possible future for Half-Life. That widespread playtesting and the near-complete state, those are probably the most significant indicators if they're true.
Agreed. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. If this HLX is real, what parts of the Half-Life universe are you most excited to see again? Or maybe see expanded?
Characters, story threads, specific gameplay ideas.
Yeah, or what innovations, maybe from Alyx, maybe from way back, would you want them to build on in whatever this mystery project turns out to be?
It's definitely fun to speculate after all this time.
It is. It's been a long wait, and these whispers, well, they certainly get the imagination going again, don't they?